Oh boy, today I am very excited to be bringing you guys a video because we're checking out one of my favorite guns of all time recreated in a mod for Fallout 4, and I love to say that this is one by the Commonwealth Weaponry team. Today we're checking out the Police Carbine, which is going to be the Fallout equivalent of the Armalite AR-180. Now, this is going to be heavily based on the sort of Carbine Police variant, which you might have seen in Ian McCollum's video, but it of course does have attachments available that let you turn it into a handful of different variations of the AR-180, as well as a handful of fictional ones, thanks to some wonderful concept art that we got over in the Discord, as well as some completely original stuff as well. So you have a lot of fun, different art styles mixed into this weapon to make for some really cool combinations for an already beautiful gun. For those who aren't familiar, the AR-18 or AR-180 is just another 5.56 assault rifle, but it's a little bit more unique than your typical AR-15 or other stuff you might see in modern day. This is definitely going to be fitting more of that 80s retro vibe, which is something that we have been in love with lately, as you might know from the Beretta as well as the Barrett. Now we have a fun assault rifle to use with all of those. That has a pretty good style that I think fits well in Fallout 4, especially with some of the attachments we have available. Not only is it going to be the typical black polymer that you see on this gun, it's going to have some wood options as well as some scrappy Raider options that make it feel nice and at home with our other weapons. Now, this is a gun we've been waiting to do for quite some time, and now that we have a bigger team put together, including a couple of new additions, we were able to make a really cool weapon and dedicate enough time and energy to each individual asset to make it feel a lot more polished than our typical gun, because this is one we wanted to treat nicely. There's a few guns that Pig and I have been saving for quite some time that we just want to make sure get the best possible treatment, and this is one of them, which is why you see it with over 70 attachments, which results in over 30 million unique combinations of attachments, so there's no reason you yourself can't have your own version of this gun that nobody else has, which I think is pretty cool. This does feature custom animations, utilizing an old set of animations that already existed, and then our newest member, Mac, has taken those and done some awesome tweaks to make them fit this gun a bit more. That includes things like changing the grip and mag placement so it has a nice tighter handle on our magazines, as well as a completely new charging handle animation, because we kind of need that for the 180. It's very important. We haven't had an anim set to date that had that, and now that we have an animator who likes doing things for us, well, we've been able to get a little bit more fun stuff with our mods, which is always really cool. If you want to get your hands on this weapon, it is going to be found on enemies, specifically Raiders, the Brotherhood of Steel, and Gunners after level 18. There's also a unique, which comes with a fun little treasure hunt. It's really funny because I make these videos a bit delayed from our mods, so we're already well into making more stuff, and I'm already used to our new treasure hunt idea. So the fact that this is the first one to appear in a video is actually kind of weird for me. It's almost like time traveling. I have seen a handful of people on the Nexus having a little bit of trouble with the treasure hunt, so there will be a full guide in this video when it comes to the unique section. So don't worry, those of you who might have been struggling with it, there'll be everything explained with a nice little spoiler warning, so if you need it, you will have that a little bit later on. Now, there is a good bit of stuff to talk about in this mod, so we might as well jump in game, because boy, there is just so much content to talk about, so let's go ahead and get in there. Starting off, of course, we do have the stats for the weapon in its most basic configuration, and this is going to be the standard configuration. Like I said, heavily inspired by that nice little police carbine that we used in real life. This thing has a base damage of 34, I believe. It uses 5.56 as its round. In the future, we may do a patch for 223 munitions, but for now, it will use the vanilla 5.56, so it requires no parent mods. It has a fire rate of 91 and semi-automatic. It is a semi-automatic carbine in this config, but of course, we do have full auto as an option. We have a range of 179, an accuracy of 63, a weight of 8.6 pounds, and a value of 98 caps. And this gun is wonderful. It may not be an exact one-to-one recreation. There are some small discrepancies here and there, just sort of a thing that you do for video game assets. Maybe not AAA assets, but for our purposes, I think this thing works wonderfully. You can tell exactly what it is. It's a beautiful gun. Alex did a great job on most of this stuff, and I had a little bit more fun with some of the side pieces in this mod. We'll talk about that when we get to the attachments later. Some of my fun little projects, as well as the unique. That's one that I definitely had a lot of fun with. Before the unique, though, let's talk animations. We've got a handful of animations to talk about because it's not just one custom set. We actually have a handful of things. For starters, though, let's go ahead and fire this thing a few times, look at its accuracy, and check out the base reload. A very, very nice reload that actually utilizes the right-handed charging handle. Believe it or not too many guns that have that, and so finding animations for this thing was pretty difficult. We were actually going to settle for just using a bolt release, but our hero Mac came along and decided to help us out with that, so that is wonderful. They are truly one of the biggest components of this mod, is giving us that charging handle. Really, really helped out. And that, again, is going to be the standard reload for your typical old Stanag mag, but we do have some other options available. For example, we do have a custom drum reload thanks to Haru. And it's a very satisfying reload. It looks so amazing. It's really, really cool that we get to include that. We also have foregrip animations, so we do get the option for vertical foregrips over at the weapons workbench, so that's always fun as well. And then I believe we have dual mag animations, so we do have jungle mag configurations where the mags are taped together upside down. That's also very, very fun. And that one is going to be the quick reload, so it does have the bolt release instead of the charging handle pull. And there's also built-in bayonet animations. So that's always really, really fun. And the last one isn't really an animation, but we do want to talk about sounds a little bit here. We do have custom sounds that you just heard, as well as custom suppressed sounds. Very, very fun stuff. And in a really weird turn of events, this is kind of our first real assault rifle. The closest thing we've done to this is like little carbines that are full auto, and we did have a bullpup AR, but this is the first traditional standard config assault rifle that we've ever done. Isn't that weird? Now then, it is time to talk about the unique available in this mod. So if you want no spoilers beyond this little screen here, I recommend skipping ahead to the weapon workbench section. This is going to give away the location as well as the effects, all that fun stuff. So again, if you don't want spoilers, skip ahead now. Otherwise, here we go with the Unforgiven. It's going to have the Furious effect, giving you more damage after each consecutive hit. So if you have good aim, this thing's going to have a ton of damage. It comes with its own custom look. As you can see, it has a camo painted receiver as well as wraps on all of its furniture with some leather, heavily inspired by a design from one of the old Metal Gear games. It also comes with jungle mags, which is really fun, and a bayonet and a Colt 3 times. Really sells the vintage military look of this gun, and it looks awesome. I love this thing. I'm very, very happy with it. The bayonet actually being one of my inclusions on this mod. I really wanted to make sure this thing had a custom bayonet, and so we got one, and it looks pretty dang cool. Now, if you want to get your hands on this thing, like I said before, there's a bit of a treasure hunt, so let's go ahead and get that hunt started. So, step number 1 for the treasure hunt is heading over to Neponset Park. This isn't going to be where anything actually is, but it's going to give you the closest fast travel location to where you need to go. Once here, go ahead and flip around, and you'll find some treasure hunters. I think that that's all of them. At least I hope. We have treasure hunter leader, as well as 2 other treasure hunters, and some other friends. They're not part of this. On the treasure hunter leader, though, you can go ahead and loot them, and you might find a treasure map. We're going to go ahead and snag that and give it a read. We head over to our miscellaneous section and look at the treasure map. We will find a nice little treasure hunt. It's separated into 2 parts, the map section here, as well as the bottom section. Now, I tried to leave some pretty dang obvious hints here. Clearly, you're supposed to be going over to the Atom Cats Red Rocket base, because that is the Atom Cats logo. And even if you didn't have that logo, you could make out that that is the little peninsula that they live on if you were to study the map long enough. So let's head over there and then get another good look at the map. Now, this is the exact position it will spit you out in when you fast travel here. Now you have to line up the picture on the map, which, to be fair, is pretty dang easy for me since I picked the location and made the map. But, just for instance, you are looking for a couple of those fire barrels. You're on the road. You're looking towards some of the big overpasses. There's some other structures in the background, a bus stop, and then a line with flags. That should be enough, I think, for most people to get it. But once again, for the purposes of this video, if you aren't sure, you can't find it, we'll go ahead and get there ourselves. If you actually take a look just like this, you might notice that this looks pretty dang similar to our map here. We've got the flags, we've got the telephone poles, all that stuff. And it's pointing to a nice red building, which I believe is that building right there. So let's go ahead and check that out. So here we are approaching the building. And that's pretty much all the treasure map gives you, is that it is in this building. The rest of it is up to you, but truthfully, it's not too hard to find. We head in here, come up the stairs. There's a newly placed skeleton with an army helmet and a duffel bag. And if we search that duffel bag, there we are with 15 rounds of 5.56 and the Unforgiven. So that's how you obtain the legendary. A really, really fun unique. Only one this time around, and probably in the future we're going to be sticking to one unique to make them especially unique, giving them really, really cool skins and custom parts, as well as giving them fun little quests, which, don't worry, we're already building on that idea as we speak. So hopefully the uniques become even more fun to hunt down in the future. One thing about the Unforgiven here is sometimes, because this is a random encounter location, you might have guys like these. Now, I went ahead and ran a command to kill anybody in the area just to make sure that everything looked right. But if you encounter people, it is possible that they go up the stairs and take the gun out of the bag. So if that happens, and there's nothing in the bag, kill anybody nearby and start looting because they probably have it. Now then, of course, we need to talk about attachments over at the weapons workbench. As you can see, I've had a lot of fun customizing this thing because there's all kinds of really cool ways that you can kit this thing out with different attachments. So let's go ahead and get into them. For receivers, we have standard up through advanced, but then we also have a slew of automatic receivers, which do change the fire selector on the model, which is fun. And those go up from automatic to powerful automatic. So you can have this thing as a nice little carbine, or you can have it as a full auto sort of assault rifle. For barrels, we have the makeshift barrel, which is going to have a very makeshift, scrappy raider aesthetic. This is one of the ones I came up with, and I'm pretty happy with how it came out. It looks great and perfect for Fallout. One of those things, as people seem to always say on the internet, what the pipe guns maybe should have been. Imagine this, but all over the gun, because there is a full furniture set for this style. There is the short barrel made of wood, as well as the short light barrel made of plastic. The long barrel made of wood and the long light barrel as well. And then a support barrel, which sort of has that LMG vibe. Another one of my little models here based on some concept art from over in our Discord. And this thing comes with its own carry handle and a very, very cool look that you never really see on a gun like this. For stocks, we have the option to take off the stock completely and remove it. We have the makeshift stock, which goes with that makeshift barrel, which is a couple of pieces of wood strapped together with some metal and some other gubbins to make for a fun and scrappy aesthetic, and it's bolted onto the side here instead of attached in a proper way. We have the full stock in the black plastic, a light stock, which is going to be sort of a skeletal design, a recoil compensating stock, a marksman stock if you do want to embrace the long range aspect of this gun, or a support stock for more of that LMG aesthetic. Pair that with a support barrel and a drum mag, and you're really cooking for a fun gun. For magazines, we have the standard magazine, which is your typical little Stanag mag, as well as a quick eject version, which is going to move over to that jungle mag configuration with a flip reload. The medium mag with a jungle mag configuration for that, for the quick eject. And then the large 40 round mags, as well as a quick eject version of that, which looks absolutely ridiculous, but it is a lot of fun. I actually got a Raider variant off of a Raider that had all kinds of makeshift furniture in one of these mags, and I thought that was so cool, as well as one of the biggest scopes you've ever seen, so pretty funny for this gun. We also have that drum magazine we showed off earlier, with its own custom animations if you really need more rounds. Then for sights, we have the standard iron sights, some glow sights of course, a hollow sight which looks really nice on this gun. I've always loved this sight and it looks good on pretty much everything we put it on, but on this gun, it really feels at home. We have a reflex sight, which is going to be that Falcon sight. We have a brand new model for our laser sight. You're aware of our functional lasers if you've been on the channel for a while, but we actually haven't done one in a little bit. For whatever reason, they didn't appear on our past couple of guns, so I made sure that we did it on this gun, and I made a whole new laser that looks pretty dang cool. I'm a big fan of this guy, complete with warning labels and logos and everything you need, as well as potentially functional iron sights if we ever decided to implement those, but for now, it is just your big laser. We've got a combat sight, which is basically an ACOG. We have the short scope, it's a Colt 3 times, a medium scope, a long scope, a night vision scope, and a thermal scope, which will highlight enemies with a nice orange glow. So that's pretty fun as well. Honestly, I like how the medium scope looks on this thing pretty well, especially with some of those long range furniture options. Could be for a pretty cool setup. For muzzles, we have the standard muzzle. We have a makeshift compensator, a makeshift muzzle brake, which is going to be just 2 little pieces of pipe welded together, and a makeshift suppressor, which you know is our really fun Nuka-Cola can suppressor. We have the bayonet custom to this gun, a muzzle booster to increase fire rate, a compensator, a muzzle brake, and a suppressor. So you have a nice bit of options here, as well as some early game versions. If you happen to pick up one of these before you don't have too many gun nut perks, you can craft these pretty early on. Then for the foregrip section, we have no foregrip, of course, and then the makeshift foregrip on the front, the standard foregrip in wood, and a light foregrip in plastic. For accessories, we have the option for no accessory, a mounted on flashlight, sort of catty-cornered up on the side here, a recon laser, which gives you some better hipfire accuracy and marks targets, as well as a VATS targeting module to give you some bonuses in VATS. So if you're a VATS user, a fun little attachment that boosts that for you. For the blast section, we have our rear grip, which is separate from the stocks. We have the makeshift grip, the standard wood grip, the light grip, and the marksman grip. Sort of a nice design for those of you who want to make a little bit more of a long-range DMR. I keep talking about that, so you know what? I am going to make one really quick just because that sounds like fun. Go ahead and throw that on. Maybe a suppressor. That medium scope we talked about. Shorter magazine for a DMR, I think. The marksman stock and the long wood barrel, I think, makes for a combination that's pretty cool. Almost looks like a Rangemaster. Almost. But that's definitely not what this guy is. So, you can have a lot of fun with this gun. There's so many combinations and so many possibilities. I've made so many myself. A lot of them are sitting up on our gun wall, so I hope you guys have fun with this one. With that, though, we'll go ahead and wrap things up. A bit of a longer video since we did need to walk through that quest as well as the many attachments. Expect more stuff like that in the future. Not always, but if we feel up to it, we might do some fun little, really cool ways to get unique stuff. I think that's a really fun way to expand our mods beyond what they already are. Now then, if you want to try out this mod, of course, it will be linked down in the description below. And if you enjoy it, something I never really plug, consider dropping it an endorsement if you download it from the Nexus. And if you really enjoyed it and you find it deserving of such, you could vote for it for Mod of the Month. I don't particularly care for Mod of the Month. It's not something I'm trying to do, but we're sitting up there right now. And so I figure if you guys like this so much, it is a very easy way to show your support and tell us what kind of guns you guys like to see. I think there's a good few people out there who didn't even know the endorsement or vote buttons even exist, but it's basically like liking and subscribing here on YouTube. Speaking of which, if you enjoyed the video, that's another great way that you can support me for free. Now, if you want to support me directly, you can of course use my link down in the description to check me out on Patreon. If you like my videos here on YouTube or the mods I'm making like this one over on the Nexus, that is the best way to support me directly. But again, that is also completely optional, just there for those who want to. Once again, I hope you guys enjoy the mod. It's been a ton of fun to make, and I hope you guys have a ton of fun playing with it. With that, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace!